Hello and welcome to The Limelight, your go-to podcast for all things marketing and SEO. I'm Chandler. I'm a digital marketing specialist here at Digital Limelight Media, and I'm thrilled to be one of your hosts. Each week, we dive deep into the world of digital marketing, bringing you expert insights, industry news, and actionable strategies to help you elevate your online presence and stay ahead of the curve.
Whether you're a marketer, an entrepreneur, or just curious about the dynamics of digital marketing, tune in to the In the Limelight podcast as we unlock the secrets to achieving optimized impact in the digital realm.
So join Lauren and I as we explore the exciting and ever-evolving landscape of digital marketing right here, The Limelight.
Hi guys, welcome back to the In the Limelight podcast. This is Lauren.
And this is Chandler.
And today we're going to start off with our lemons and limes. Chandler, what was your lemon for this week?
Okay, so for a little refresher, in case anyone doesn't know, a lemon and a lime are kind of like the good things and the bad things. So the limes are the goods and the lemons are the bad. So I'm going to do the bad one first. So I'm going to go with... So my cat Ajax actually had to go to the vet this week. And
Oh, no.
love him so much, but it's not the best when you have to randomly spend $400
Oh,
on
of
new
course.
medication.
And with cats too, I always feel like it's some mystery ailment and then you get there and they're just mad.
Oh, well, the thing is Ajax is, I swear to God, he's an actual dog. He like chills at the vet. He's like playing. It's crazy. And then I would say my lime is, I would say the lime is, I had a really, really, really good report / like quarter meeting with one of my clients where a lot of the projects that we worked on, you can like visibly see all of the good and like the positive results that came from those projects. So it's really cool to just be able to kind of do like a full circle and be like, yeah, so when we implemented X, Y, and Z, it caused this and we have data to show.
That's so awesome. That's really good to hear. It's always nice when your hard work pays off. And going into that, I'll start off with my lemon. So I've been working with one of our design managers, Tyler, on a project for website for one of my clients for a few weeks, maybe about a month now. And we were supposed to meet and review with them. And I've been super excited to get this project approved and completed. And we had to reschedule the meeting. So we're going to meet with them next week, but I was really bummed to have to wait to show it off because I think we've done a really good job and I just want to get it out there. But on the bright side, my dad and I have been helping my grandparents move. We've been touring condos. They're moving up to Grand Rapids, closer to the family. So I'm super excited. They just put in an offer on a condo and it was approved. So my grandparents are officially moving into town. No more like 3-hour drives to go see them. So I'm super, super excited and it's like the best lime.
That is actually really exciting, especially to like have family be closer than what they were before.
Mm-hmm. They were the furthest ones away, so It's so nice for them to be close and be able to see all the family again.
Yeah, that is really, really nice.
Perfect. So today's episode is all about Google. From the search engine to the tech giant it's become, we're going to sit down and kind of go over Google. So do you know how Google started?
To be completely frank, I don't think I know the exact story of how Google started.
So back in the 1990s, 1995 to be specific, Google was started as a research project by Larry Page and Sergey Brin while they were PhD students at Stanford. It's pretty interesting. Like a lot of big tech, Google was started as kind of a concept, as just a project that people were working on. No clue how big it would come to be today. Really interesting too that it wasn't originally called Google. Its first name was Backrub. Very happy that they changed that name.
It was called Backrub? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Super weird. But Google's name is actually the name Google is based on the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. So it's numerical. I think it's better than Backrub.
Yeah, I think I also a little bit of a side tangent. Could you imagine being someone that like didn't invest in Google? Like they were like Backrub. I'm not gonna invest stock in that. And then the next year they're like, oh, actually, it's the largest search engine ever created.
Well, can you imagine like, oh, I'm just gonna back rub this instead of Google? Like, terrible.
That
terrible.
is so bad. That's so bad on so many levels.
I think that's the best rebrand of all time, personally. I also think it's really interesting that Google was originally kind of created to be a better search engine that ranked websites based on their backlinks. Kind of interesting how that's continued to really just be the foundation of SEO today and how far we've come from that.
Yeah, I think it's also like super interesting in the way that like I think Google itself has almost like, I don't necessarily know, is there another business bigger than Google?
When I think comparable things, maybe like Amazon, Apple, but even then I don't think that they have the reach that Google has. Google is king. That's what Google is.
It's crazy to think about. And to think about like how Google has like become such a massive company that like branches into so many other things that are under the scope of Google. Like, for example, like you said, like the Gmail, there's Google Drive, there's Calendar, there's Google Meets, which we use every single day, all day. We use Gmail all day. Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Google Ads. I can't even imagine how much money they pull in specifically just from Google Ads. Like, it's such a massive business that has really branched out and been able to kind of take over the entire like landscape in terms of search engines and website/internet applications.
It's really interesting too that Google has taken on more than even that. It's acquired YouTube, it's acquired the Android interface, even more. It's really crazy just how far Google's wings spread.
Yeah, I think it's also like, I don't think people really realize how like the web of Google, how far that goes out.
Yeah, and even down into the physical hardware. There's Google phones like the Google Pixel, there's the Nest, and now Google has AI like everybody else. But I think Google was a little bit earlier in that with their Google Assistant.
Yeah, I think it kind of just shows that like, not only obviously I'm sure like if I had $1 every time we say Google is king on this podcast, but literally Google is king in the way that like they are able to not only just be a search engine, but be able to really dominate that entire space in terms of like, what did we say last week? Like Google was 90% of the all searches.
Yeah, it's a huge portion of the search engines. No one else is close.
Yeah, to be able to like completely dominate in that area, and then also on top of it, like I think it's almost more uncommon when someone has a Yahoo mail account. Like I am almost shocked now. I'm like, oh, like you don't have a Google, like a Gmail account for your emailing. It's like even in email, they've kind of dominated.
Yeah, or when you get a new computer and the automatic web browser is Bing, it just feels wrong.
Yeah, because it
feels weird. Yeah, like I know we have some team members here at DLM that prefer to use DuckDuckGo, you freaks. No, we love all search engines, but Google is definitely the biggest one, and I think it's kind of the most important in the way that we're changing our tactics and our strategies to improve and optimize websites.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a way of like, we are almost in a symbiotic relationship with Google, because when Google is like, hey, we're going to push blogs, obviously we're going to push blogs. Or if Google's like, hey, we're really going to favor, for example, FAQs, and obviously we're going to follow whatever Google says, like they are able to kind of dictate what is done in the SEO world moving forward from whatever update they declare like needs to be changed.
Yeah, and Google's always updating. I know they've had some recent updates like Panda, which targeted low quality content. Some other updates like Penguin, which focused on link quality. Hummingbird, which improved understanding of search intent. How do you think that these updates and algorithm changes have improved or reshaped SEO practices here at DLM, and just kind of the things that you've seen yourself?
So I think, to be completely honest with you, I think two things. I think the first thing with like Panda, Penguin, Hummingbird, all of those, I think it's Google like quite literally figuring out like I can't tell you how many times I've Googled something and the exact answer I need is up at the top with like a little knowledge panel that I don't even have to really like go into the page. I don't have to do anything.
That is so nice.
It's right there. I think what Google is, I mean, I guess we can probably say we know Google is not necessarily like trying to get us to go onto the page, which they absolutely are 100%. But I think for a lot of those like really quick questions, they're really, really pushing the knowledge panel to the point to where you can get your answer right away. And it's right there in the search engine, and you can kind of see what they are searching for and what people are ultimately wanting when they are searching things on Google. And I think the way that that kind of affects our job is we are more attuned to what is the actual viewer searching and what is their actual goal. If someone, for example, is looking to get Botox, are they looking for the price? Are they looking to get, you know, how long does this treatment last for? How long am I going to have to be in quotations recovery? I think it's basically trying to figure out what exactly is that viewer trying to achieve when they're looking for a specific search, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Sometimes it kind of feels like Google says jump and we say how high. We just do what Google wants it to do. But yeah, at the end of the day, like you said, it's a symbiotic relationship. We're helping Google by giving them, you know, information. We're helping them see what people want to search for. And in turn, they are, you know, giving us all these analytic data. They're showing us where our website ranks, how important it thinks our websites are to these various searches. And it's interesting too. It's, if you search something 10 years ago, that same thing 5 years ago, 1 year ago, 6 months ago, you're going to get very different results every single time, just because of how Google's algorithms have updated, how your own specific profile basically describes you, where you're located, your specific advertising portfolio and your persona, things like that. It's super interesting.
Yeah, I think it's also like when we go through specifically, I mean, obviously we're going to optimize for all the search engines. It's not like we're like completely forgetting, but I think it would be naive to say that Google is not what we're mostly optimizing for. I think when it comes to like DLM by itself, Lauren, do you have any like practices that you're like, I really, really love X, Y, and Z in terms of SEO practices, or like, I wish I would have done this sooner to kind of realize how beneficial this was for my site?
Yeah, so the big one that I've been focusing on lately is mobile friendliness. Google has moved towards putting the mobile version of your website as the top priority over the desktop version. So I've been working on a ton of mobile audits just to make sure that the websites on mobile, which is the websites on your phone, on an iPad, tablets, things like that, that are in that smaller, more portrait view rather than landscape. So it's that smaller up and down, not that horizontal, making sure everything works, making sure if there's certain buttons on mobile that aren't on desktop, that they're still working. That's a strategy that I've been really working on. I've been seeing some good improvements with it. And you can really easily see what Google thinks about your website by using their tool, Page Speed Updates. Really, really love that. Is there any tools that you specifically are using?
Honestly, you kind of took the words out of my mouth with the mobile friendliness. I think it's kind of hard because it's like, not only are we trying to stay on top of the content, the keywords, the correct headings, the meta titles, the meta descriptions, but then also you have to really take into account how it actually feels and like the UI of the actual website in terms of mobile. Like, are the words too crowded? Are there call to actions at the bottom that are close to the thumb, that are easy to tap? Like, there's just so many things that we can really do to really help optimize and, like you said, just boost the SEO health of the website. I think something that I've seen that have kind of been really, really beneficial is I'm sure there's so many tools online that can be used for this, but it's basically just a website or any sort of software or any sort of program that you can kind of put a page into this said software, and it will tell you a score 1 to 100 of how well the page is ranking in terms of certain keywords. So we've kind of really dove deep into that and been able to really focus in on, for example, if this page is not as optimized as it possibly could for Botox in Grand Rapids, Michigan, it will give you a list of words and a list of phrases that we can use to help kind of beef up that copy to be able to rank well and to rank higher, so that we are getting more visibility, we are getting more conversions, we are getting more leads. I would definitely say that's something that I've recently been able to see like a really palpable result from. On top of, I'm sure there's hundreds of SEO tactics.
Yeah, I know some other ones that we use here at DLM are optimizing for the EAT, which is expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, as well as focusing on user intent. So yeah, really excited to see what we've kind of been doing and what we will continue to do to come with Google's other updates. For in-depth analytics and transparent reporting, you'll see exactly how your ads are performing and how you can get even better results. Ready to turn searches into sales? Visit dlmconversion.com today and let us illuminate the path to your digital success.
So I think not talking about certain parts of SEO, especially when we're talking about Google is king, is just flat out wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I think we're missing some things.
Yeah, correct. Not necessarily like missing things. I think one of the most important parts of SEO is, you know, keywords and content and basically just UX overall. I kind of like went slightly into this in the last part of what I was talking about, kind of the page content and kind of researching those keywords. I mean, there's hundreds of softwares and programs that you can use that will kind of help you not only just do keyword research, but kind of plan what keywords you want to use in each web page. Just to kind of list a few, there's like the Google Keyword Planner. There's Ahrefs. I always mess this one up. Is it Ahrefs?
I call it Ahrefs, but everybody calls it something different,
okay,
I swear.
Yeah. So Ahrefs, whatever, you know. And of course, you know, SEMrush. I think there's so many that will help you really like dial in on those most valuable and like those keywords that are really going to get you where you want to go. I think it's kind of just a little bit harder because not only does this open up the realm of just keywords in general, it opens up into short tail keywords and also, you know, long tail keywords. Not to kind of jump the gun a little bit, but
Yeah, for sure. I think if Google is king, content is definitely queen.
That is such a good way to put it.
For sure, yeah. They really just go hand in hand. Like there's not a king without a queen here, and vice versa. You know, Google isn't able to tell us where it thinks our website should rank without content, and without content, Google really wouldn't exist because there would be no reason to even have a search engine, because where would the content go?
Yeah.
So it's super interesting. And then once you have your keywords kind of planned, there's also some tools. I really like ProRank Tracker that help you track your keywords when they're already there. I know some people at Google Search Console too, if you want to track keywords that people are searching for and finding your website. But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting ways that you can kind of go about optimizing your website for keywords, looking to see what keywords you should be using, what keywords hold a little bit more weight than others. And then speaking about those short tail and long tail keywords, what is a short tail keyword?
So it's a keyword that has a short tail. Obviously. Just kidding.
Like a bobcat?
Yeah, exactly. No, so a short tail keywords is basically, they're also known as head terms. So those are search queries or just searches in general that refer to a very broad topic and have a high search volume. So for example, Botox, you know what I mean? Like obviously I can't even begin to list the millions of places that offer Botox and the millions of articles that talk about Botox. And then obviously kind of the other end of the spectrum, which is the long tail keywords. These are more specific and typically have a much lower search volume. So, you know, a large number of not popular keywords. So it's basically going from Botox to saying forehead Botox in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's a lot more dialed in to where you can actually find a lot more information and the exact, you know, pages and practices and links that you would want from a short tail keyword.
I think it's super interesting with the rise of AI. How is that going to affect our short tail versus long tail keywords? I think we optimize a lot of our sites with short tail keywords in mind, like Botox near me, liposuction near me. I've got some construction clients, so we'll throw in electrical work near me, things like that. But, you know, with Google's new AI that they've been kind of debuting, who's to say that people aren't going to Google, I am looking for Botox near me in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And, you know, that's a long tail keyword. What is Google going to do with a phrase like that? Super interesting. And I really can't wait to see going forward what AI and long tail keywords kind of being more prevalent is how that's going to change search engines.
Yeah, I think like you were kind of saying even before, like when it comes to Google AI and the way that like searching is going to be evolving constantly, like you said, who knows if they're even going to be like putting in like a keyword, you know what I mean? Like there's so many other ways that you can do that, like you were saying, like the voice to text where you're just kind of saying like, hey, I want Botox in this area, like can you just kind of like help me out? It's just really crazy in how fast the search engine and Google's algorithm in terms of favorability for rankings and also just SEO within the content is like just constantly changing.
Yeah. And then going off into content, content is just so important. What you have on your website, we want to create comprehensive, we want it to be engaging, we want it to be informational, we want it to be interesting, but we also don't want to use just a ton of SAT words and make it too smart for people. We want to keep it, you know, that level that people are comfortable reading. I think we want to keep, what do we say, 8th grade reading level, simple.
Yeah, so it's like definitely at least like digestible. So like it will like reach a broader audience, so it's not like dialed into a very specific clientele. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's really important to not only like have, like you said, the SEO value, like the keywords, long tail, short tail, all of that in there, but if your content isn't engaging, no one's gonna read it. It has to actually be informational, professional, and, you know, have a sensibility of credit. Like I don't want to go to someone that is talking about plastic surgeon that hasn't gone to college.
Yeah. And that content on the page isn't just always the words that are there on the page. There's things like you were talking, meta descriptions, there's alternative text. If you're using a text reader for accessibility purposes, or just because you want to do a text to speech out loud, you know, if people are looking and there's no alt text in an image, they might just see image 1 and that's all they know. They don't know what's going on there. Same with Google can't look at the images and know what's going on yet, so Google needs that alt text, those meta titles and descriptions to kind of know a little bit more specifically what's going on that page. And then going on with that, there's things like headings to optimize to make sure that the headings are not only in the correct hierarchical order with the H1s, then the H2s, then the H3. We also want them to be descriptive so that Google knows what is going on in the following paragraphs.
Yeah, I think even like how you're saying meta titles, meta descriptions, the page titles, I think a lot of that will start to like call back to the user experience of the entire page itself. Like for example, like if even just the page speed itself like is gonna affect the way that people experience your page. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a page and it takes too long to load and I will just go somewhere else.
Oh, I always bail. I give it a good maybe 5 seconds before I'm on the next Google search result. Yeah, page speed is so important. And Google, through its Core Web Vitals metrics, is able to kind of tell you what's going on with your page speed. Some of the metrics that they look for when they're looking at page speed is the LCP, which is the largest colorful paint, or basically how long the largest element takes to load on the page. There's also the INP, the interaction to next paint, which is overall page responsiveness to actions by the user. So that's clicks, taps, maybe using a keyboard shortcut. There's also the cumulative layout shift that basically influences the rankings, measures the number of unexpected layout shifts. So if you've got some big elements on your page that aren't loading and then all of a sudden something loads and it makes the page look all different, Google doesn't really like that. So we're trying to cut down on things like that. And then it measures the responsiveness on both desktop and mobile. So we really, really want to make sure that both of our versions of our website are up to par.
Yeah, I think even just like we were talking before, like how important it is to have as optimized of a site as possible for mobile. I think it's obviously Google's going to constantly be shifting more and more towards mobile first indexing. So like you were saying before, your mobile version of your site is now the primary version. I cannot express how important it is to have a mobile optimized and a mobile site that is like tailored to be mobile.
Yeah.
I don't want a site that's going to be desktop that's just shrunken down to kind of somewhat look good on mobile. That's not really going to help you. I think it needs to have a responsive design. It needs to have extremely well mobile usability. And I think you're going to see a lot more results from that on top of all of the other SEO things that we can do on top of the website.
Yeah, and you're able to see how many people are using your site on a mobile and a desktop version in tools like Google Business Profile, Google Analytics, things like that. Every time I check, my websites are between 50 to 75% mobile usage. So, at least half to a majority of the people looking at your website probably using a cell phone. So it's super, super, super important to make sure that your websites are optimized for that.
Yeah, I think it's really, really interesting because I haven't been here very, very, very long, but even just to see the like slow rise of mobile users for each of your websites, like it's only going to continue to grow. Yeah.
And I believe that's a fairly new Google update within me also being at DLM. So, really make sure that your mobile website is optimized. And then the last, I think, big thing about SEO is just making sure that your website is being updated often, whether that's optimizing, adding those meta titles, adding new content, things like that. Just making sure that Google is seeing that you're making those updates. That's just so important. As Google sees more updates being made, it comes back and checks out your site more often, which, allows more opportunities for your rankings to improve.
Need a digital makeover that screams wow? Dive into DLM's Design Wonderland. From pixel-perfect social media graphics to jaw-dropping website designs, we're giving Picasso of the digital age. Elevate your brand's visual game today. Contact your marketing specialist or contact our sales team to learn more.
I think it's really, 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 really important.
Really important, you say?
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. What I was gonna say is I think it's really important to kind of not only just when we're talking about SEO to obviously the keywords, how it's ranking, make sure the content is obviously queen, everything's engaging. I think there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that we can put together to kind of complete the SEO puzzle. But I think it's also just as important for someone that is let's say, maybe a little bit of a smaller business, and to kind of see how local SEO can really bring just profit and business to your doors. Like, we want people to walk in, we want people to have local customers, you know, we want to make sure that the local SEO is just as, if not, you know, stronger than, you know, I would say overall SEO.
Yeah, and I think there's a ton of really good ways to do local SEO, but my personal favorite, and I think the one that holds a lot of weight, especially through Google's rankings, is the Google My Business, or also Google Business Profile. They kind of go by both. The name is kind of changed.
Interchangeable, yeah.
If you see GBP or GMB, we are talking about the Google Business Profile.
I think it's such a, like, that is such a big part of finding a place. Like, for example, if I went to type in like dermatologist near me and there was a little like singular business that showed there, like the odds of me going there are like extremely high compared to
absolutely.
any other place.
And if the reviews are good, like, I'm there. Like, that's how I look for so many things. That's how I found my lash studio for my eyelash extensions. It's where I found my hair salons. It's where I find places to go eat. It's where I find places to stay when I want to stay at a hotel or something like that. It's even, you know, where I find cool places to visit. I'll just look things to do near me and scroll through the local business profiles and see what looks interesting. And I definitely think the ones that have a little bit more information, the ones that have some pictures, the ones that have some reviews, the ones that seem more legit.
I was just about to say that. I was like, it is so frustrating to like see Google businesses that are just empty with how easy it is to update and optimize it. I'm like, it will literally take you maybe 15-20 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
it's so easy. It's just as important as getting your website optimized, or even more so. I mean, a lot of places, if you don't have your Google Business Profile up and optimized, you just don't exist on the Google map.
It's so crazy because it's, if you are wanting to have a presence when your business or like your area of service is Googled and you want to show up and you don't have a Google business, like, you are contradicting yourself. There's no way you're going to show up with an empty Google business.
Yeah. And there's really just some basic information that you need to get on there. Like, we call it the NAP, the name, address, phone number, making sure that information is consistent. But there's other things that you can put on there, like the services that you provide, the service area. That's a really good one. So if people are searching near me, really awesome. So for Grand Rapids, let's say I've got a business that's located in Rockford. Rockford is a suburb of Grand Rapids, pretty close by, but far enough that a lot of people, if they're looking for Grand Rapids, it might not show up. But if I selected for my business in Rockford that one of my service areas was in Grand Rapids, it's probably going to show up there now. So, you know, getting your service area out there, super, super important. You also want to get some photos, a logo for sure, but also some photos of the outside of your business if you have a physical location, some people working, maybe some photos of your staff, things like that, just to make it seem like you are a legitimate business. We recommend that these photos are high quality, but you can totally go outside with an iPhone and just take some photos real quick. Anything to make you seem like a more legitimate business that you are.
I think it also, that's something that is just like, they think they need a full frame DSLR camera to post pictures on your Google business. Like, the new iPhones take great pictures, just don't make them blurry. Like,
absolutely.
It's so easy to have good quality images of your office, of your space, of your front doors, of a patient's room. Like, it's so easy that I think that's also the point of, I don't think people realize how easy it is to optimize your Google business page.
And I totally use those photos all the time. If I'm going somewhere new and I don't totally know where to go or what the place looks like, you bet that I'm looking at the Google Business Profile to try and make sure I'm walking into the right door. So it might not really seem that important, but those photos are used all the time. And then the other thing that's really cool about the Google Business Profile is that you can get reviews right there. Sometimes they'll even show a little snippet up on the Google business profile on this search if there's a cool review, but Google really does take into a factor how many reviews you have, how high you are rated, and that works its way into where they want to place you on the search engine, where they want to put you in the list on the maps. It's super interesting, and it's super, super important to make sure that your profile is optimized.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like we said at the complete beginning, there's so many pieces of Google that you are able to really optimize to help bring you and your business up and up on terms of like ranking. I think it's something that we are absolutely, I think at DLM just really excited about. There's constant change. There's always things that we can update to kind of bring about more optimization and just overall more traffic, more business, more recognition to your business in general in Google.
Absolutely. Well, enough of the business side of things. Let's get into some fun stuff about Google. So Google has a few playful features that they use to contribute to their brand and how they show off. One of my favorite one is their doodles that they have. So if you've ever been on Google during a holiday, the normal Google logo might look a little bit different. The first one that they ever did was all the way back in 1998, right around when they were first formed. And it was a cute little Google on the search page featuring the Burning Man Festival logo, that like big Burning Man.
Fun.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. Super, super Silicon Valley too. Totally fits
100%.
exactly who you think. What are some of your favorite things that Google does to brand themselves?
Honestly, I think it's the way that they incorporate themselves so well with UI. Because going to school, I obviously studied graphic design and photography. So like the user like interface is such a unique and cool thing to go about. And Google really knows how to hone in on, like you said, like the little doodles. Like every single day, I feel like almost every single day the logo is completely different, and it's constantly changing its looks. And I think the way that they've just kind of branded themselves is so clean, so minimal that it just can't go wrong.
Yeah, they also have some fun little Easter eggs. Like, I don't know if you've ever Googled do a barrel roll. They did a super cute one. Oh my gosh, yeah, the whole Google search will like literally do a barrel roll. You've got to check it out. It's super, super crazy. Cool. When the Barbie movie came out, they had a whole Google Barbie. Cut to our producer, Jordan, currently doing a barrel roll with Google right now. We have to check it out. It's
oh my gosh,
literally a 360. It's so cool. So they do a bunch of fun stuff. I've seen a bunch of interesting ones. I can't remember them all. They do a barrel roll. It's definitely my favorite. But I think my favorite thing that Google has ever done is their April Fool's joke all the way back. I think it was like 2013, where they did the Google Smells, and they were telling people to get up real close to their screen, and they wanted you to sniff and make sure, because they launched a new like 5D thing that you could smell the Google search. Yeah, so people are getting all close to their screens and sniffing, and of course it was an April Fool's prank. It was great. It was one of my favorite news stories of that year. I love all harmless prank.
Amazing.
It was so good.
I think there's also just like Google itself, there's so many like fun little like statistics and just even like information on Google. I'm sure this is kind of like well known, but I don't think people realize how insane this is, that Google has over 8.5 billion searches per day.
That's crazy.
I don't think if people are like, wow, that's crazy, you aren't comprehending the amount of searches that is.
What is there, like 8 billion people on the planet? That's like half of those people making one Google search a day. And I'll tell you, I probably make myself at least 10 Google searches a day. I'm always Googling, whether it's restaurants open near me, whether it's looking for a quick logo.
I have a headache in my left eye. What's wrong with me?
No, literally, like I am a chronic Googler. I Google everything. Like those late night, like, you ever gone down a late night deep dive? Like your Google searches are so funny. Like history of the Salem witch trials, like, just the most insane from anything. And you can always find an answer.
I think it's also like, obviously there's so many searches that I'm sure Google has captured so much information over the years that they know what we're looking for exactly to a T.
Yeah. Did you know that Google Images, that extra tab that you see on Google, was originally created because so many people were searching for that photo of JLo's green Versace dress. You know, that like famous one that she wore. I think she's worn it again. Yeah, so she wore it to the Grammys back in 2000, and there were so many people searching JLo green dress, photo of JLo green dress, JLo dress, JLo Grammys.
Insane.
That Google was like, oh my gosh, like we need to make an aggregator for images.
That's so insane.
I know.
The power. Could you imagine? I would tell every single person, I'd be like, yeah, so Google Images was actually created because of me.
Yeah.
I would somehow make it about myself.
Yeah. Well, doesn't JLo make everything? Anyway.
Literally. I think the only other one that personally like I know is which this is also so crazy because we were talking about investing in Google, that Google almost sold its search engine to Yahoo for $1 million in 1997, which was the year that I was born.
That's so crazy.
$1 million?
No, I mean you're old.
Oh my goodness. But no,
that's so crazy. I know. What the
so
fumble?
insane.
Like, can you imagine being Yahoo, who has, I don't even know if it's in second place. It might not even be in third. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then I think I've got one last fun fact for you. Did you know that Google's first ever server was made of Legos?
Wait, what?
I don't really know I imagine it was just the shell, but yeah, they made it out of Legos.
That's crazy.
Really cool.
Honestly, I feel like they should do like a doodle for that and then also do like a collab with the Legos.
They should make a Lego set, like
Yes,
DIY Google
that's what I'm
server.
saying.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of the Limelight Podcast.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
It's been so real. Have a great rest of your day.